2023 inauguration. Now we start with the defining crisis in the Middle East, where Hamas has stated that Israeli hostages in Gaza will not receive any special privileges in food or aid, saying they are fed the same rations as Hamas fighters and the Gazan public. In a new statement, the Al-Qassam Brigade say they are not intentionally starving hostages, but insisted that any Red Cross aid will only be allowed if humanitarian corridors into Gaza are opened. The group added that they are willing to cooperate with the International Committee of the Red Cross, but only on the condition that food and medicine also reach Gaza's civilian population. The response came after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu requested Red Cross involvement in delivering food and medical aid to hostages. This follows the release of videos showing 2 hostages in weakened condition. European Union and other world leaders have slammed Hamas as well. The Israeli Prime Minister has also levied harsh accusations on the terror group. Let's listen in to Netanyahu's comments.
אזרחי ישראל היקרים, כמוכם גם אני הזדעזעתי אתמול. ראיתי את סרטוני הזוועה של הבנים היקרים שלנו, רום ואביתר. צלצלתי למשפחות, חיבקתי אותם בשמי ובשם רעייתי, גם בשמכם. תראה אותם נמקים בצינוק, אבל המפלצות של החמאס שעוטפות אותם, להם יש זרועות אבות בשר, יש להם כל מה שהם צריכים כדי לאכול. הם מריבים אותם כמו שהנאצים הריבו את היהודים.
We're now joined by Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev, who's a former Indian ambassador. He joins us live from New Delhi to discuss the ongoing Gaza crisis along with other updates around the world. Thank you very much, Ambassador Sachdev, for joining us on the programme. Given Hamas's claim that hostages receive the same amount of aid, the amount of food as Gazans and Hamas fighters, how credible is this statement from Hamas, and how do such declarations typically serve Hamas's political objectives?
Thank you for having me. It's a complicated situation, but I could say that it's very difficult to get to know if Hamas statement that the hostages are fed the same ration as their own fighters is correct. Nobody has access to either the fighters or the Israelis held as hostages. The second question that you asked is whether it helps propaganda offensive. It certainly does. Let's remember that the context of Hamas-Israel war has stalemated. The talks are at a dead end. There are no talks anymore, no ceasefire talks, because the two positions remain far apart. And in the meanwhile, humanitarian crisis has taken very grave turn. People are dying of hunger, and they are also being killed by the Israeli security people at the 4 distribution sites, which are managed by a U.S. NGO with Israeli assistance. Lately, under pressure of hostage welfare people and the international community worried about famine, Mr. Netanyahu has relented by allowing more aid from international organizations such as the Red Cross and some UN agencies, and allowing airdrop. But more would be needed on a sustained manner so that this problem can be eased and negotiations can resume.
Ambassador Sachdev, the Israeli government has come under much criticism Obviously, we've seen protests happen in Tel Aviv and cities across Israel. They believe that the Israeli government isn't prioritizing the safety of the hostages still held in Gaza. We've obviously seen the attacks on military operations in Deir al-Bala, which is where Israeli hostages are expected to be. What has been your analysis of the Israeli government's treatment and approach to the safety of hostages?
That's a good question. I don't think there is a good answer to that. Israeli government has been at loggerheads. It insists on the three preconditions for concluding the war, and they include Hamas's dismemberment. Hamas has last week rejected the demand for disarmament and giving up weapons. It said it will do so only when Palestine as a state is created. On the other hand, there are divisions within the ruling right-wing coalition. Thirdly, the option that Mr. Netanyahu exercised to distract public opinion by attacking neighboring countries and Iran is no longer there at the moment. So the hostage situation has escalated, and Israel has tried to devise a way to somehow get to the hostages, the food supplies and other essentials. But Hamas is resolute in not allowing any access to the hostages by international organizations or anyone else. And it wants Israel to declare permanent ceasefire and give a timetable for withdrawal before any of the hostages are released. That appears to be a total stalemate, even though Mr. Steve Witkoff met the hostage family members and assured them that a new plan for release of the hostages is being launched. But it remains to be seen because nothing has been outlined yet.
Ambassador Sachdev, I'm just going to ask you one last question on this topic because I'm conscious of time here. This conflict here is unique. We've seen humanitarian aid being politicized, also some say weaponized. What are the risks of this, both for the hostages and for the people of Gaza?
I think there is acute risk of mass deaths in famine if this situation continues and is cynically weaponized, as you said. For the hostages, I think Hamas has an interest in keeping them alive because they want to negotiate with Israel, and dead hostages are not a negotiating chip, to put it cynically. So they would be interested in providing minimum possible assistance, health-wise and nutrition-wise, to these hostages, and wait for the internal dynamic in Israel and US-Israel relations to evolve so that the negotiating position of Israel becomes a bit more soft.
Yes, Ambassador Sachdev, thank you very much. You are staying with us.